one cylinder with auto grid turned on here on countertop. Okay, and now let's type in 3 centimeters radius and height 1 centimeter, height segments 1 and sides 12. Zoom in and let's isolate that. Convert that to editable poly. Select these 2 polygons, inset them by 0.5 centimeters. Select them again, and we can delete this one, and we can extrude this one by 4 centimeters. Now detach that polygon as a clone and move that polygon up for now, and select this polygon again, inset, extrude by 1 centimeter and delete. Now select this loop, and these 3 on bottom, chamfer them 0.1 centimeters and 3 segments. Okay, now select this polygon and pull it down again. Inset that polygon by 0.5 centimeters and we can delete that inner polygon. Now select border, shift and drag one more time and cap. Okay, and now select all polygons and we need to flip normals. Okay, and now we need to select these polygons and extrude them by 8 centimeters and make them planar on y-axis. Actually, let's extrude them a bit more. Okay, and now select this edge and this one and pull them back slightly. Now select these 2 words and these 2 and pull them up. Now select these 2 and pull them also, and now select them all and pull them up, something like that. Okay, now select this polygon, inset 0.2 centimeters, and now I will cut from here to here, from here to here, and one last cut. Okay, and now we will apply turbo smooth on that object, so we need few support loops around. So I will create one loop here, and then I will select this edge and this one on other side, turn on edge constraints and pull them here. Okay, and now one more loop here, one here, undo that, and okay, and one here. Okay, now we can attach those 2 together and apply turbo smooth with 2 iterations. Okay, and now create one more cylinder and radius 3, height 1, 12 sides, convert that to editable poly, zoom in, isolate that, and let's inset those 2 polygons by 0.5. Okay, we can delete this one on bottom and we can select these two loops, hit chamfer, point 1 and 3 segments. Okay, let's go to left viewport now and press Z to zoom in. Go to create panel, and in shapes I will create rectangle. Okay, and now type in dimensions. I will type here 35 or 30, and here 30 also, and then convert that to editable spline. Move that here and select this segment and delete. Now select all words, right click and convert them to corner, and now I will push down this word, and this one I will push this one here, and I will pull up this one. Okay, and now select these two, scroll down to fillet and fillet them like that. Okay, now go to rendering menu, enable in renderer and enable in viewport, and I will set thickness to 3 centimeters here, actually 2.5. Okay, and we can align those two together. Move that here and pull it up slightly. Okay, isolate that and now convert it to editable poly. Select these 3 polygons, delete them. Now select that one, inset point 1. Okay, extrude in by 0.5 centimeters. One more inset, apply, and one more. Okay, and now with Swift loop create a loop here, 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 and 2 loops here. Okay, now we will create a loop here. Select that loop, chamfer 0.1 centimeter. Okay, now select this ring, extrude by local normal and extrude that by 0.1. Okay, and now select this ring, connect 2 segments, and now make few support edges here. Okay, and apply turbo smooth with 2 iterations, and we can actually attach those two together. Okay, now we have our faucet. In the next lesson we will finish our model and we can move on with lighting and rendering. Sync to the right place, push that down and move that here to the wall like that, and move that to the right like that. Now select this object and with angle snaps turned on, rotate that by 45 degrees. Let's zoom in and move that here, make a space between them like that, and let's group our faucets together and place that to the right spot. Okay, move that here and push that up. Let's ungroup for a second and move that. Okay, and close the group now. Now we need to finish countertop, convert that to editable poly. Ctrl A to select all edges, chamfer, point 2 with 2 iterations, and collapse all. Now with Swift loop, make a loop here, here, one loop here, and one loop here. Now select this polygon, delete, and delete this one. Now select box below our sink, convert that to editable poly, and delete this polygon. Okay, now we can make bar chair. Let's turn off auto grid, and let's create a box like that, center that, and type in dimensions 35 by 35 and height 1 centimeter. Let's isolate that, and I will push that up by 69 centimeters. Now I will create one more box, 3 by 3 and height 69, and that will be our leg. Turn on snaps and snap that here. Now turn on absolute mode here and push that leg by 1 centimeter on X and 1 on Y axis, and go to hierarchy panel, affect pivot point only, and let's center our pivot point. Okay, now we can rotate that by 90 degrees and make 3 copies. Okay, and now select one more box, turn on auto grid, and make a box like that, and let's type in dimensions. Length will be 4 centimeters, width 1.5, and height 27. Okay, let's move that in. Again, go to hierarchy, affect pivot point, and center that. Okay, and now shift and rotate by 90 degrees, 4 copies. Okay, and we can select them all, and we can move them here. Now we can shift and drag this box and make a copy. We can change length to 5, and now I will snap that here, undo that, snap. Okay, turn off snaps and push that in slightly, and let's go to hierarchy and again center the pivot point, and now shift and rotate by 90 degrees, 3 copies, instance. Okay, and now we can select this box, convert that to editable poly, and actually we can select this box, convert that to editable poly, and attach all these boxes together, and we can attach also these. Okay, convert that, undo, convert that to editable poly, and undo, attach all legs together. Okay, now select everything, apply edit poly modifier, select all edges with Ctrl A, apply quad chamfer 0.2 centimeters and 2 segments, actually 2 iterations, and collapse all. And we have our bar chair. Okay, and now we can start adjusting our doors. So basically we need to select every door and adjust it by moving these words 0.2 centimeters to the right, these words 0.2 centimeters to the left, push these words down 0.2 and push these words up 0.2 centimeters. Okay, we need to do that here also. Select them, push them 0.2, select those 0.2 centimeters, push them up 0.2 and down. So we will do that on every single door. In that way we will have nice spacing between doors and it will look much better on render. Let's do that on microwave, and let's open the group and move buttons inside like that, close group, apply edit poly and select these words, push them 0.2, select these words 0.2, push them down 0.2 and up 0.2. Okay, now I will pause the video so you don't need to watch me how I'm moving all these words, and when I finish that I will come back. Okay, now when we have nice spacing between the doors, our kitchen model is ready and we can start setting up lighting in the next lesson. And make sure we have V-Ray as a production renderer. If you don't have it, click on this box, select V-Ray from list and hit OK. Now go to rendering, gamma and LUT setup and make sure you have these settings. OK, and now we will select all windows. OK, Alt Q to isolate them, group, open, and I will select every single window glass here and right click V-Ray properties and make sure you have visible to GI turned off and hit close. Go out from isolation mode and now let's bring up material editor. I will make a basic V-Ray material for test renders. Let's turn on background. I will change diffuse color to light gray. Okay, turn on reflections. Okay, turn on Fresnel reflections and reflection glossiness 0.6. Okay, now go back to render setup and let's turn on V-Ray frame buffer. Go to global switches drop down, turn on override material and drag our basic material here, so that material will override every single material in our scene, and only we need to exclude from that our windows. Okay, for V-Ray image sampler we will use adaptive DMC with area filter. adaptive DMC image sampler settings, for now leave them default. V-Ray color mapping, I will use Reinhardt with burn value of 0.1. Usually I use burn value 0.2 or 0.1 or 0.05. Now let's stick with 0.1. Make gamma 2.2, and Reinhardt is actually mix between linear multiply, color mapping type, and exponential. If you have burn value of 1, then you basically have linear color mapping type, and if you have burn value 0, you have exponential color mapping type. So let's bring that back to 0.1 and leave everything as it is for now. Let's go to indirect illumination tab, turn on indirect illumination, and for primary bounces I will use brute force, and for secondary bounces I will use light cache, and leave everything default. For now, just turn on show calculation phase. Okay, go to settings tab, leave everything as it is. I will only change render region division to 16 because that can increase our render speed, and I will change dynamic memory limit to 14 gigabytes because I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, so don't use all of your RAM. Now for lighting I will use V-Ray dome light with V-Ray HDR map inside. So let's create our HDR map first. So let's make one V-Ray HDR map, and let's open HDR. Open. I will use Peter Guthrie's HDR map. That map was free for quite some time, but unfortunately it's not anymore. I will provide you a link where you can buy that HDR map. And let's change mapping type to spherical, and other settings for now I will leave like they are now. Let's go to create panel, lights, and V-Ray lights, and let's create a V-Ray dome light. Make sure you have type here dome, and make one dome light. Okay, now let's change settings. Make sure you have multiplier set to 1. Leave everything as it is for now, and make sure you have use texture turned on, and drag our HDR map here as an instance. Okay, now we can create a V-Ray camera. Go to creation panel and cameras, V-Ray cameras, and we will make a V-Ray physical camera. Let's click and drag camera. Now go to left viewport and press C on keyboard. Now let's turn on shows save frames, and let's change our viewport from wireframe to shaded, and let's choose camera in selection filter so we can select only cameras in our scene. And I will bring up our camera to 100 centimeters, and I will put camera target also to something like 90, and let's place our camera somewhere here, and let's change some settings. First I will turn off vignetting, and for white balance I usually use or D75 or neutral or daylight, so let's use D75 for now. That will give us slightly warmer look than neutral, for example, or daylight will give us a more saturated and warmer look than our D75. So okay, let's leave everything on default now. Actually, we will play only with film speed, ISO value, shutter speed, and maybe with f number. Okay, now let's change our film gauge to, let's try with 50. Okay, and actually let's turn that up to something like 60. Okay, something like that. Okay, and now we need to change our resolution. Output size from custom go to HDTV and change resolution to 1280 by 720. And we can unhide our ceiling. We have everything ready for test rendering, and we will do test renders and continue setting up lighting in the next slide. Let's go to render setup, render elements, and let's add few render elements. I will add V-Ray global illumination, V-Ray lighting. I will add raw global illumination, raw lighting, raw reflections and refractions. I will also add V-Ray reflections and refractions, sample rate, and specular. Okay, and make sure you have V-Ray camera here selected and lock that down so we always render from our camera. Okay, and now let's start our first test render. Every time while I'm rendering, I will pause the video so you don't need to wait results. So okay, this is our first test render, and it's obvious it is too dark. So let's start tweaking our camera settings. First, let's take down shutter speed to 100 and film speed to 200, and let's render a small region to see the difference. Okay, it is better, but it's still too dark, so I will cancel the render and let's make film speed 400 and let's render again. Okay, this is bright enough, so I will cancel the render and I will render the whole image so we have a good starting point. Okay, that looks okay. Let's bring up V-Ray frame buffer history and let's save that. And usually my next step is rotating my HDRI map by 45 degrees until I get desired look. So I will turn on this little region here and I will rotate my HDRI map by 45 degrees and let's take a quick render. Okay, as you can see the difference is almost nothing, so I will cancel that and I will rotate more, 90, and render. Okay, now you can start to see a difference in color, so I will cancel the render and I will rotate it more, 180 degrees, and re-render. Okay, I think that's it. Now I will cancel that, I will turn off region and I will re-render the whole image again. I will save that image now so we can compare this one with previous one. Okay, and Let's set this one to A and this one to B, and you can see how huge impact can have just rotating our HDRI map. Okay, and now one last thing. Usually I'm setting my inverse gamma value from 1 to 0.6. I don't go below that value, but usually I'm using 0.8 value, and lower value means more contrast, and also you will have more, that means you will have more a bigger difference between lights and shadows, and you will also have more saturated image. So let's re-render one more time with inverse gamma 0.8. Okay, we can save this render also, and we will compare it with previous one, set it to A and this one to B, and you can see a huge difference also. Now I want to mention that you can't use always the same settings on your camera and on your HDRI map, because it depends about your model and depends also about HDRI map. So I will open here a new map and I will show you. So I didn't change anything, and I will re-render that so we will see the difference. As you can see, with same settings we have almost completely dark image, so we will cancel that. And now I will change shutter speed to 1. I will bring film speed to 600, and let's try with f number 4. Re-render. Okay, and this is the render with other HDRI map. And that's it. I wanted to show you real quick how to adjust your camera settings when you have different HDRI map. Now I will return the first map back, and I will also turn back our camera settings, 100 shutter speed and film speed 400. And now let's change our selecting filter to all. Let's hide ceiling, go to layers menu, and let's hide everything except kitchen. And let's zoom here, and really quickly I will make here a light for below our kitchen cabinets. So go to lights, V-Ray light, and turn on auto grid and make a V-Ray plane light here. Okay, now rotate that by 180 degrees, zoom in, and let's push that down for a bit, and let's change settings. Set multiplier to something like 300, change from color mode to temperature, and let's make temperature 3000, change weight to 1 and length to 149, and let's place that into center here like that, and let's move that to the wall, and we need to make that light invisible. Now we can unhide everything again. Okay, unhide ceiling, and let's render. Let's re-render that. Okay, as you can see, our light is not strong enough, so I will cancel the render, and I will select this region, and I will change multiplier to something like 400 and re-render one more time. Okay, our lights and camera are ready, and we can start creating material.